We gon' do this. You say you changed, but it's a shame you still ain't found no ways to prove it. You acting shady, moving ruthless.
Okay, so I listened to the song
Yeah.
and it's great. Yeah, I've listened to it a bunch of times. The line that says "Call me Stacy because I'm clueless," I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
I'm so happy you got that. I mean, you're a little older than me, I believe, so I'm not surprised. But when I was in the studio, my engineer, he's like, I don't know if people are gonna get that. And he was like really doubting that people were gonna. I was like, it's a Clueless line, like that's a classic. What do you mean?
yeah.
And the amount of people that have brought that line up to me specifically has made me feel so much better because I was
Oh,
really anxious nobody would catch it. But
yeah. No, if I just feel like Clueless is one of those movies that's like timeless, even though it's a 90s and like a few generations
absolutely,
might miss it.
yeah.
It's definitely good, but also like another key takeaway from the song is you say, "Is
Is
it
it
wrong to say
wrong
that I
to
still
say
care?
I
Is it
still
wrong to
love
say I
you?
still love you?" I
Is it
said,
wrong
I
to
gotta
say
ask him,
I
who is
still
this
care?
song about? Who is he feel?
um,
Who broke his
really?
heart?
Okay, so like I'm like the ultimate sad boy, and I'm always in my feelings about something. Honestly,
Uh-huh.
this song is about three different people. It's
Oh wow.
about four even. I
Wow.
pulled so it's I try not to write songs specifically about people. I definitely get inspiration from specific people, but because I don't like being confronted with those type of questions of like, is this about me? And if I'm still like literally involved with those people, no pun intended, then it can just kind of
Mhm.
make things awkward for me, if not
It's
both of
so
us. So yeah,
yeah.
it's just like it. That's the thing about being an artist. Is like my journal is like public, so it's like, of course, I don't want you to know that this is about you. It's like me working through it, but um, it's about specific friendships that I've had trouble getting over because I've been really good friends with people, and then because of our differences it just didn't work out. It's about some situationships, or a specific situationship actually that I had that person inspired the song. And then actually like one of my parents is one person that inspired the song too. So
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah, because I
Wow.
have like a rocky relationship with someone. Well, yeah, one of my parents specifically, and that was kind of like a
Mhm.
realm that it came from. So
Okay. So
yeah,
are you in contact with are you close with one of your parents?
yes, yeah,
Okay. Awesome. Um, yeah, I like the idea. I really admire people that can sing. I'm like, if I could be born again, I would go back and talk to God and be like, "Can you just fix the voice box? Can you help me write a song?" But I
right.
Yeah, no, I think it's so cool the process of writing a song and how things come to fruition has always inspired me, and really it's just mind blowing. I watch shows like Songland or the
Yeah,
new show with Alicia Keys where they're just walking through the process of how to write a song, and it's really just a blessing and a gift to see how artists can hear different things and hear notes and chords and be like, oh well, let's do this melody or let's
and
change
just
this.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like I just really love that and I get so like on fire for that even though I can't sing. Um but something about this song, I was like, what is it about Involved that is so different from your other songs that you think really resonated with fans? I mean, enough to get it on the R&B charts.
yeah.
Number 7.
Um, which was I think about that every single day. I'm still like astounded and just so grateful for that. But um, this song was. I can truthfully say this is the first song that I felt like was about like me. This was the most personal song that I've ever written, which is something that has been really difficult for me because releasing music in general is a very vulnerable act. And it's different when there's kind of that separation of like, okay, this is my music and this is my voice and my writing, but it's not my story. And this was like kind of the first step in me like working towards being like, okay, I'm gonna make music about the things that I'm going through or the things that I'm struggling with. And I think that you can feel it when you listen to it. Like this is something that I've had to deal with and overcome and just work through. And this was really the first song that I've written, that I've released anyway, that was like therapy for me. So I think that people could just feel my soul on the song and feel how much work I put into it. So
Yeah, I definitely think that makes a difference is
yeah,
um, you know, when people are coming up in the industry, it's just really holding on to that authenticity and
right,
it's just trying to translate that and be yourself. Because yeah, fans can feel that, you know, in any music, people will look back and be like, oh, this lyric, you know, about Clueless or whatever,
right,
like helped me through a certain point, or I just, for whatever reason, I really like this.
right. Right, and
Um,
that's what's been cool is a lot of people like have messaged me and said that like have that they could like this related to what they were going through or something that they recently went through, and it's just like nice to hear it on this type of in this type of media like platform or whatever. So that was
yeah.
dope. That was dope.
So, talk me through what your process of writing a song looks like. You know,
Okay.
is it dim in your room? Are you is it just you with the instrument? Are you written a studio out in Kansas City?
I have a very specific process. So, and it sounds weird when I talk about it, people kind of laugh, but um, I only write by myself. I've never written a song with someone for myself. I've had writing sessions with other people for their music, but um, I'm not opposed to that. But I just, up to this point, I've just really felt like I wanted to be the one that penned all of my work. So that's that portion. Since I've lived in this loft in Kansas City, uh, when I'm writing, I need to be in a space that's different from where I exist normally in my life. So I can't usually write very well in my living room. I have trouble kind of getting into the flow because that's where I chill, that's where I eat, that's where I'm a different version of myself. I'm not trying to
Yes.
pull things out. Same with my bedroom. My bedroom is a place where I relax. So it sounds strange, but what I do is I like lock myself in my bathroom because there's like no windows in it, and they have really tall ceilings and white walls. So I write in the mirror. I always write in the mirror, whether even if I'm not in my bathroom, I'll pull one of my standing mirrors out because I like to look at myself and look into my eyes and kind of emote and get myself into what I'm trying to feel and who I'm trying to be for what I'm writing about. And then I always write in red light. Red is like my color. It's something I really relate to. I always wear red. If you look at my social media, there's a lot of red in my photo shoots, in my clothing, in my lighting, whatever. My props, there's always red around me. So um,
Wearing it
I
right
always write.
now.
Yeah, I'm wearing red right now. I
Yeah.
always write in red lighting. So I just pull a little lamp in there and get to it. Oh, and I always wear a flannel. That's the part that some people laugh about is I always have a flannel. I just like they keep me warm, but they're loose. They're not like super like constricting or anything like that. So those are my bulleted points for writing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you, it seems to be working. So
I
I'd
guess.
say keep
Yeah.
looking at yourself in the mirror, keep shining the light.
That sounds when you say it back, it sounds really conceited or
No,
like
no,
but
I did not mean
I
it
don't
like
know.
that. Okay, so now I have to talk to you about this because I remember when you posted on your Instagram that you were wanting to give up on music.
Hmm.
And when I saw that, I said, "Oh no." I was genuinely like, "Oh, I got to message him and I hope he sees this because
Yeah.
sometimes when you're in the moment and you're grinding and you're doing the same thing every day and you feel like you're not seeing the process, you can't see what other people see. And to me,
Right.
I'm like, this is obvious. He's going to be famous. I'm like, oh, he's got it. You just have the whole package. You have the look, you have the aesthetic. Um, so when I saw you wanted to give up, I'm like, he can't give up for my selfish reasons. He can't give up. I'm like, this guy's a
Right.
star. So
Thank
what
you.
was that changing moment for you when you realized, you know what? Like I don't need to give up because it was before Involved came out.
Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, I post stuff like that regularly. Like, I don't know that exact one that you're talking about. I worked on Evolve for like a year, so I may have posted about that a couple times in between that time. But um, that moment has never happened for me. I still every single day consider like if this is something that is ever going to get me anywhere, if I'm wasting my time, if people, you know, support me the way that they say they do. You know, I definitely have those insecurities still. So yeah, I mean, I think about quitting music regularly, and I text my best friends about it, you know, all the time, and they're like, I wish you just saw what everybody else saw, kind of like what you said. And I think when you're the person, you know, and you know everything that you've been through, and you know the worst things about yourself just like you know the best things about yourself, and that's what you decide to portray, and that's what everyone sees, because social media is curated. Of course I look like a celebrity and I look like a star online, but I still have to deal with, you know, poverty, and I still have to deal with being a normal human and processing, you know, emotions from personal relationships and family, and having a real job because I don't live off of my music yet, and paying bills, and then the added stress of the music industry and the lack of support for independent artists is just really discouraging. And it's not always because I don't think I'm good enough. I know that I'm a star. I know that I'm, you know, I have the look, I have the sound, I have the work ethic and drive to be as big of a star as I want to be. It's just the fact that that doesn't always mean everything. You know, there's amazingly talented people that don't always go anywhere because they don't have the access and they don't have the support system. And that's what I get in my head about, is like, is somebody ever going to find me and like know that I'm good enough and like want to put me on to that next step? Or am I just going to eventually plateau? Because, you know, I do my best to learn, I read, I do everything I can to continue the growth and improve my craft, improve my look, and keep moving forward. But I just get in my head about like, okay, like, is that going to stop someday? Eventually, is my luck going to run out of just like people finding me organically and continuing to grow? So it's just the not knowing that is scary and like makes me want to quit. Not so much that I don't think I'm good enough. And that
Yeah.
was a really long-winded answer. I'm sorry, but that's something, you know, I have to have that conversation with myself every single day. It's like, as long as you're seeing growth, you know, it may not be, you're not gaining 5,000 followers a day or 20,000 followers a day. You may not be number one on Billboard yet, but you know, you're making those baby steps. And as long as you continue to progress, then there's no reason to quit, you
Yeah,
know? So
exactly. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's this um, operating from a standpoint of scarcity. And I think we as humans, we all do this, not
yeah,
just someone being
not
in the
just
music
musicians.
industry,
Exactly.
but, you know, will I ever have enough? Is there enough to go around? Will I have enough money, or will I find someone to love me? You know, so it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
really learning to get out of your head. You touched on being an independent artist, and I know there's like a lot of well-known artists that have been adamant about not signing to a major record label, or they've like resisted that for a long time, and then, you know, done their own
Eventually. Yeah.
yeah, and then they're like, actually, I changed my mind. Um,
Yeah.
so do you see yourself wanting to be independent long term, or would you eventually want to sign to a record label?
I don't have a concrete answer for that necessarily. I get asked that regularly, you know, by people that I interact with. And I think it's all about what is best for me. As time continues to go by, in this very moment, I'm happy as an independent artist. A lot of times people at my level, when they get signed to major labels, they get shelved, you know, because especially nowadays, there's a lot less investment into artists because social media, you know, you can a lot of times find people that can already sing extremely well and already have the look and do these things. So they're like, labels are like, well, why would we invest millions of dollars into you when we can find somebody, you know, that can already do that? So there's less development behind the scenes, it seems like. Which social media is a blessing and a curse for that reason. But uh, I think that I have very big dreams to be one of the biggest stars, if you know, like of my generation. And I really, really believe that I can be that person, um, because I have the work ethic to do so. And I think that that type of power comes from a large machine because it's about marketing and it's about access. It's about having that big thing behind you that pushes you and has the experience and knows how to make you pop and make you the biggest thing, hottest thing that everybody has ever seen at that time, you know?
Exactly.
So I think that I could be very successful for a long time as an independent artist. And if that's how it turns out, that'd be great. But ultimately, I think I'll end up sign. I mean, who doesn't want to, sign for a bunch of zeros and have it deposited into your account? Like that's definitely something I still dream about. But if I can have my cake and eat it too and remain independent and be this huge artist that everybody sees everywhere, then of course I would choose that, because a lot of times when it comes to labels, you have to sacrifice, creative control. And that's something that I fear is like, it's if the art isn't genuine anymore, I don't want to do it. So, as long as I could sign and still be myself and still make the art that I want to make and do the things that made people fall in love with me originally, that made you want to sign me, then I would do it.
Yeah.
But it has to be on my terms.
Yes. I love that. So what's next for you? I mean, I know sometimes people will hear that question and they're like, "Oh, pressure, I got
Yeah.
number 7 on the charts." I noticed when I was looking at your music that it was kind of a gap. So you released 2 songs in 2018, then you had one in 2019, and then you released this one in 2020. So was that intentional, or are you planning on working on an album or an EP or anything like that in the future?
Yes. So I released 2 singles this year. I released Change Your Mind, and I want to say March. And then I released the video for it in May, and then Involved in November. And those are the 2 lead singles from my upcoming EP. I have had tons of dates for that EP, and they've all passed. It was summer 2020, or maybe even earlier than that, and it was okay, maybe August, and then it was like okay, maybe November, and now it's like okay, who knows? Because this kind of relates to the independent um, artist question. Like, I don't have the funding that larger artists do, or even people that whose family has money or whatever. I'm completely funded by me and the job that I go to every single day, and the weird side hustles and like painting jeans and doing features or whatever that like. But I'm like I said, I'm completely funded by myself. So I am just going with the flow. It's all about like my bank account. I've taken long amounts of time to release more music, um, primarily because of money. Like studio time is very expensive. I'm not an artist who purchased, a studio equipment off Amazon and just dove right in and learned how to do everything myself. From the jump of me making music, I was going to like a professional studio. So that's immediately what I got accustomed to. And that's again, like a good thing and a bad thing, because like I've had a great sound. I've had, very professional sound really since I started releasing music. Um, but because of that, I'm stuck paying like 40 some dollars an hour for studio time. And as, someone with just a high school degree, I make $15 an hour. If you do the math, obviously I have to work multiple hours to afford 1 hour of studio time. So, and to do one song, like when it came to Involved, I spent hundreds of dollars just recording the song itself. And then that doesn't include, buying the beat. That doesn't include like mastering it. That doesn't include cover art. That doesn't include the video shoot. So it's like, it's just very expensive, and that's why it takes so long to release music. But
Yeah.
I've in that time between like 2019 to Involve now, I just saved as much money as I could, and I was like, this is going to be thrown into a project. I'm going to take all this money and make the best thing that I possibly can. So it's coming. It's just, perfection, being a perfectionist plays into that as well. And I feel like when it comes together, it comes together. There's no rush. So following, but it's still small.
Mhm.
And I have to make every release count. Every song has to be the best song I've ever put out, like my best song yet. Every
Right.
single time. Every single time the quality needs to improve and the writing needs to improve and the videos need to improve. And when it comes to releasing a project, because my following is still so small and the likelihood of me blowing up off said project is pretty slim, I'd invest all this money into this, this great body of work, which is amazing,
Mhm.
only for very few people to see it. And then it's like people want more again. And it's like, okay, well, I'm broke now because I just put all this money into this project that, my followers see. And I gained some new ones, but it's almost better for someone at my stage, in my opinion, to really, really draw that process out to try to get the most out of it that I possibly can.
Right.
So,
Well, if you ever need a video girl,
hey, I'm always looking for one
hey,
for
hit
every
me
video.
up.
Yes.
Okay, so before we wrap up this interview, people that are interested in streaming your music, where can they go to find you? Where can they follow you?
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram at the Life of Shah. That's TheLifeOfShah. Twitter is Life of Shah, so same thing as Instagram, just without the.
Mhm.
And then I'm available for streaming everywhere. You can stream me Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Audio Max, SoundCloud, Google Play Music. I'm everywhere,
Awesome.
because I want people to find out about me. You feel me?
Yes.
So put
Yes.
people onto me. Look me up. Put your family onto me. Put me up. Post
Yes.
me on your little Instagram story where I got the song playing. You feel me? All of it, and I'll show love
Yes.
right back. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Because I'm clueless. Is it wrong to say I still love you? Is it wrong to say I still care? Is it wrong?